we are going to be getting into our first map of our winners finals. Team Heretics NAVI, a date with Destiny in the grand finals determines how this one will go.
A big rematch, and yeah, I love that we talk about Oasis because him and Naga have been trading roles on who's playing the Mantis, where Oasis is now kind of like self-pat on the back is saying that him and Naga are the best the best Mantis out there, allowing Naga to play the Atom, but that's only if Mantis gets through the pick bans. So this is going to be a very important phase because this really gives a huge advantage depending on what decisions you make here.
Yeah, Team Heretics have made a habit of first protecting that Mantis, which is a little bit away from the standard. We've expected either Elsa or Gambit to be the first protect, and we already have a divergence here. Na'Vi, they might decide to go for their own Elsa here, and that could mean that Terra is about to become Terra Thanos.
Yeah, and Terror himself. Like, I don't even remember last time Terror was even allowed to play Elsa. And you saw how crazy he went yesterday. I thought his Star-Lord was one of the best. When Terra gets angry, I swear he plays better. And he went Super Saiyan yesterday. The one-sided Elsa is going to be a big difference. But the Heretics win con around the Gambit is now going to create some decisions and some considerations for Na'Vi for the rest of the bans.
All Team Heretics have the Loki available here if they want to make a play for Gambit Loki. Do they want to go for the save? Oasis is a pretty good Loki player. They're going to go for the Mantis instead, hoping that they'll at least be able to have a duelist who can match the violence of Elsa by giving that 12% damage boost off the back of the spores. And now they're like, okay, we're not going to let the Gambit Loki exist, especially with the team up from a Mantis. So we're going to go for the one-sided Vanguard pool instead, who's great at shutting down the Gambit.
Yeah, I was surprised that Na'Vi wanted to ban the Van pool instead of maybe targeting Beetle's Rogue that goes so well with the Gambit. So that could be an option for Beetle, who is, I mean, been so flexible. If it's not the Captain America, it's the Rogue, and he's even strayed away from that and played more Groot towards the playoffs. So I was kind of thinking a lot of these top teams were going to be hurt by duelist bans because strat bans, I mean, they're flexible as ever, but we're kind of realizing in playoffs, the more you can target the Vanguards, it affects the whole structure of the team and what tempo you can play at depending on what Vanguards are available. So we'll see how that'll go for Team Heretics, who really like to play fast.
And well, the speed is going to be on their side here with the Jeff bubbles as well. Oasis is going to make sure that Beetle's going to have no trouble getting into these engagements and popping that team up with the Gambit of maximum brawling power, and potentially also keep Enzo queued up if he decides to get involved as well.
Yeah, for our first map of Krakoa, Terra on Elsa versus the Gambit Supremacy team of Team Heretics, who really have innovated so much in the triple strat line, from being one of the first teams to bring out the strat pool, courtesy of Alex, to, I mean, really showing how dominant Oasis and just Jeff can be in general, even without the team up. But Na'Vi, it's going to be about investing into Terra. Jerky has been usually that second duelist, will be on the third strategist, and you got the White Fox Luna team up here, so you're gonna have a lot of heal potential from Na'Vi if they're expecting a run it down, if they're expecting any kind of dive. Now, taking to the skies, taking down these trees is going to eliminate a lot of the cover for the Flyers, and you know, the stumps are nothing to scoff at either. Point will unlock here in 6 seconds. Trust Me and friends are anchoring. I mean, Trust Me is already getting busy in Heretics' face and distracting them, maybe building some space, but Beetle is stepping up.
Beetle's had to be given the shield already. A lot of damage. The Smoke Demon grabs them temporarily. But now Team Heretics, they've got a lot of prestige on this point. Starting to build up towards it. Na'Vi are going to have to make a move sooner rather than later. It was Trust Me who thought they could get themselves on point. Tanuki's quick with the punish. Rajamo moves forward now with the Banhammer. That puts Team Heretics on the back foot. They have to cede some space away. Terra's gone a little bit too far. Beetle's tried to find their target, but nice dashes off the back of the Helix advance means that Rajamo is going to be the one to grab all of that aggro instead. An Ultron drone on top of the White Fox makes them a fearsome duelist, but Team Heretics just have too much concentrated fire and grab the first cap.
These are fearsome strategies from the Heretics side. A beautiful sleep from Naga hits Rajaro. You're having a potential for Terra to punish as he regroups with Na'Vi, and Heretics may have pushed some buttons, and they did get punished as a result. Now falling back, these strategies are accessible, and Na'Vi profit.
I mean, Na'Vi just had that rear guard play on the kite back, and Team Heretics didn't have anything to really invest when things started to get a little bit tighter. In comes a quick recontest coming off the back of the portal from Enzo. Beast already loses all their HP. Guess what? They can just go over into spawn and get instantly healed up. But now Team Heretics need to try and exit together. Oasis has access to the HF, but soon will get stumped down by Fate, who's having a nasty little fox parade. Everyone quite angry, and Alex tries to turn it around now with the Gambit ult. Raging Royal Flush increases the damage being poured out of Team Heretics, but it's the strongest engage from Na'Vi. Tanuki's got nowhere to go. Naga's already fallen on down, and Team Heretics are sent scuffling even after having invested their best ultimate.
I mean, Heretics already, the comms were breaking down. You're trying to squeeze out more percentage points with that portal play, and then they were 5v6, went for the Gambit ult, but then Na'Vi invested 2 straddles. So I think there's a silver lining of Heretics getting a lot more out of that fight than kind of they were at a disadvantage for. So you'll have Naga who can call the Soul Resurgence, and Beetle makes space, and he's trying to peel.
Jerky aggressive as they come. Rage of Ultron does force out the Soul Resurgence. Naga's going to be able to give speed over to everybody now. That might compound with the bubbles from Oasis. Almost a full cap here for Team Heretics. Na'Vi turn it around with the Freedom Charge, but Rajaro's nowhere near it. The bonus health could be delivered. Terra's going to try and get rid of Beetle and wins out in the exchange, but still Na'Vi have to be so disciplined when it comes to their positioning on the point. And Terra with 400's instinct think that this is the time to try and move on forward. The monster appears ready to go. The living bullet around the side. The glass shot grabs 2. And the Alpha Predator is able to chomp through the competition. The top of the food chain is thoroughly established.
The offensive capabilities of Terra are next level. It's really the duel between him and Tanuki of who can make those big plays. Tanuki has to stick closer to his team, though. Maybe not as survivable as the amount of dashes that an Elsa can have, but the Endsong Inferno does mean you can take more risk as you can get out of dodge. Na'Vi, though, approaching to the 90%. This is the final fight for them to win, as you don't have immediate ultimates. So looking for Oasis, maybe to have a good grab, namely have a nice puddle to lay down for your Vanguards to brawl through.
Can lay the Chef here as a healing puddle and get over towards the point if they do desire. Team Heretics once again are prioritizing the point for now. Not so necessary for Navi to keep this one contested, given that they've already got 99%, and Rajara going down means that all of that's going to fall onto Trust Me. Oasis in this happy little humble home back here can freely pour out the healing and is unbothered and moisturized, sitting in his fish tank. The aquarium is quite nice this time of year.
It absolutely is. The water is nice for Heretics as they're still smooth sailing, able to retake that one, and they have ults to cycle through. This is giving a 99-99 Grove fight coming up, and Na'Vi, they've really got to secure themselves around level 1 Croak. We don't get to see him on Luna every day, but the range is a little bit limited there, and it can be bursted through. Alex, though, did get frozen, and there's no punish on that. Royal Flush is important.
Beetle needs to be rescued. Oasis just going to be pouring out all of the healing there for Royal Flush, bringing the rest of Team Heretics forward. But Na'Vi have been good at disengaging from B so far. They're not going to be quite so lucky this time around. Maybe there was a cooldown that still needed to be expended, and out comes the fate of both worlds. Level 1 Crook drives the remainder of Na'Vi forward, but then for their break defense. Up in the sky, Tanuki looking for a victim. A direct impact onto the Luna, but already the healing's coming through from Jerky, who was well on top of that one. Enzo knew exactly where level 1 Crook was hiding, and that's a huge amount of space that's now been taken away. Enzo finds himself surrounded by 3, trying to get a pick here onto Terra, who doesn't have a huge amount of triage healing available to them, as all of that's being directed towards the enemies by Jerky's damage off the back of the Rage of Ultron. Team Heretics need to step up. The Glass Trucks once again is trying to make it work. Some big eats could come forth as Terra continues to find frag after frag. The Monster Piercer is slaying the monsters in the closet that Team Heretics were for Na'Vi. Overtime starts to tick away. Naga's the one keeping it contested, but Terra will not stand for it. Na'Vi claim first point.
Yeah, Terra the King can sleep for now. An absolute performance on the Elsa, and why you can't let the top teams have that one. Even with Heretics having so many ults for this final fight, including a late and unanswered Soul Resurgence, Na'Vi know how much space to give up and how to protect Terra, because that is their win condition in the neutral. With the amount of dashes that Terra has, he can escape a lot of pressure. And Naga feels very well. He's hit like almost every sleep on people like Rajaro, Trust Me, anyone who gets close, while Tanuki just needs any kind of real estate to operate around. It's very tricky to play the Phoenix in such an enclosed area like Carousel that we have coming up. This could be a risk if Tanuki wants to keep on the Phoenix, because he's so good at the Psylocke as well, but we'll see what Heretics, how this will work, and how they can build around Tanuki.
Suited up, But will the hustle reap the profits? It's all business here for Team Heretics. They aren't going to have that trump card to begin with, though, in the form of the Raging Royal Flush.
Now you're posturing towards this initial platform. This is going to be a more easy spot to protect Tanuki in, but point is unlocked here in 14 seconds. Navi are going to try to secure the perimeter. Heretics don't want to find themselves in the middle of an island if there is no point to be in such an open space, but they find themselves asleep onto Crook.
Oh, a beautiful rotation there. The charged greatsword was drawn from the scabbard, and Magneto puts it to good use. A quick slowdown on Trust Me, saying stay a while and listen to the dreams of Team Heretics for this retake. Still unwilling to use the Heartbreaker. Team Heretics get it done with no significant investment.
How is a Mantis getting in range of your Luna? This has to be better tracking from Navi. It is a bit of a dance and a tango. You gotta track these rotations. It was ring around the rosy and success for Heretics. That first fight giving already an early Heartbreaker. This is gonna be what initiates the fight for Heretics, and they really should be getting this done now.
All right, Heartbreaker already used. That's going to be an instant freeze, but a quick wake up, and it seems like the disengage here from Navi is good. Beetle doesn't want to go any further, does demand the mag bubble to try and keep them peeled. The magnetic curtain is drawn behind them as they escape towards the point. A Raging Royal Flush now from Team Heretics, sensing that Navi want to come forth and try and make something happen. They're looking for terror as Tanuki's already gone on down, and they need to equalize in terms of those duelists. A turnaround now coming through from Razro using that banhammer. I think it actually might have gone for the jackpot to try and turn this one around. An Apex Predator. I do think Oasis may have eaten some of the victims there, trying to escape. Yes, Alex is well saved by the shenanigans of Oasis, but they do sacrifice their own life for it. And now level 1 Crook is able to mechanically outplay on the point.
Oh, Fate and Crook making the big plays, and it really kind of puts a lot of stress onto Beetle, looking out for freezes and charms. As soon as you overextend even an inch, Navi will punish you for it. And even through the Soul Resurgence of Naga, that wasn't enough to help Beetle bail himself out. And Enzo only has so much utility he can gift over, but if it's not utility, it's a Meteor M. And he secured that elimination on Crook in the last round, as Heretics hope to send us into round 3. They keep the lead for now, but Navi are gunning for it.
Trust Me has the freedom charge. Extra sustainability on demand if it is going to be needed. Fate's going to have to unleash here from Navi in terms of their survivability, but it does give them an opening to go after Beetle. A quick wrap around, nothing to be gained from the Meteor M. Team Heretics will disengage through the portal, and Navi are a little bit cautious as to whether Team Heretics are going to do yet another map flip.
Yeah, a lot of better escape tools on this map compared to Grove to take the teleport, like you said, away from the Meteor M, but Tanuki is isolated. He needs to be protected, and here comes Naga to save the day.
Deadpool in your area, upgrades the fire rate of Rajro, pumping out plenty of damage, almost has yet another banhammer to try and work with. Tanuki's got the off angle, watching the approach of Terror, the Rage of Ultron unleashed, and Tanuki takes to the skies, trying to follow over onto that Ultron, but it's a great dodge away from Jerky. Absolutely perfect when it comes to the movement, but can you get away from the skit scan? Oasis just wants to reset. Out of the line of fire, out comes the Glass Rock, sending the Vanguards to a blinding grave on the other side. Enzo's going to be coming back later as the Heartbreaker chases after. Yet another freeze from level 1 Crook. He's been lights out on the mechanics all the way through this bracket. There's even more to be gained off the back of those living bullets, so dutifully supplied by Wade Wilson. But Team Heretics have done enough here. It should be a quick flip around. Jerky's going to be granted no mercy, and Fate's going to be staggered off the back.
Yeah, once Enzo was missing on the mag, like, there was so much free fire from Navi, but Heretics do not cower. They had no shield, so instead of defense, they brought offense and were able to eliminate the Vanguards of Navi. This is gonna be a final fight here coming up to see if Navi can win the map, or can Heretics send us into Cradle. There's no ults from the Heretics side. Trust me, close to his, and it's Heretics in control. They can't give up the cap.
Eyes on the captain here. Trust Me almost has a freedom charge. Could use it to force Team Heretics off the point. Oh, a triple thing. Oh, even more. Level 2 Croak has arrived. I was wondering if the sequel was going to activate. There's no help for Beetle. Enzo's already reset off the map. They know that they might have to TP back after this one.
Don't celebrate yet, mate.
K-pops him in the head. Level 1 Crook over 9,000. This is a deadly backline. Navi are expecting the touch here from Heretics, and they don't do it! Navi, I've done it!
Naga was lurking by the TP, hoping they'd just be able to run up and get that tap. No one on Team Heretics was going to swap. It was Oasis who had to do it, swapping over to the Doctor Strange. They just didn't have time to maneuver the portal. They likely tried to Tokyo Drift it all the way from spawn, but what a great threat management there. Just level 1 Crook getting 2 frags in the neutral. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do against the raid boss of Terra? He's coming in hot out the gates with 24,000 damage, 13 final hits. Damage is nice, but Terra finishes off what he started. And yeah, you're not getting all 6 people in your Apex Predator, but to delete a Vanguard, especially one like somebody like Enzo on the mag, that is so much utility off the board, especially when paired with a Rogue who really needs to be enabled, because if she's not close to anyone, she's an old battery. And Navi, I mean, they got kind of caught off guard at the beginning from the rotations of Heretics. Navi kept themselves afloat, and really it was a battle of 2 insane backlines of who can enable their duelist carry. And you saw how level 1 Crook was fragging like a duelist on the Luna. Fate was punishing Beetle with these charms, forcing him forward, and Naga was hitting every sleep on Trust Me and Rajaro. And then of course you have the Raging Royal Flushes from Alex, and when that trigger needed to be pulled from Heretics was always at a good time. Map 1 goes to Navi, but that could have been anyone's game.
Just textbook management of Beetle as well from level 1 Crook and Fate. Always rotating someone having the absolute 0 for the quick freeze, or a multitude of charms, and then moving into a melee mode with the White Fox in order to make sure that what could you do but like run away from a White Fox, because the sustainability that she was bringing to the table was just absolutely astounding. And then level 1 Crook walking away with 5 final blows, as much as anyone on Team Heretics. She's getting buffed in 7.5, by the way, so expect to see a little bit more Luna in pro play.
Yeah, and Navi yesterday, they usually start off slow. They lost that domination to VP and then swept the series from there on out. And Navi didn't even take a single map off of Heretics in their first encounter. It was a best of 3, so not as much wiggle room to kind of read your opponent. Their first encounter of the whole season. So Navi have clearly done their homework, and I feel like they've really, I don't even know about innovating the meta per se, but just know what their win conditions are more than ever. And this is a team that just needed coordination and more confidence and composure. And Navi have really hit that stride well.
I mean, Navi just seem to have rediscovered themselves after those initial like hiccups that we saw in the group stage, and that's the best time to find your defeats, right? Because you go into the playoffs knowing exactly where you're going to be at your weakest, where you can really shore up your defenses, and Navi have done a perfect job of making use of the talent they have. We'll see if Team Heretics can bring it back on their own map pick after this break.
Watch out, they're headed our way! Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Navi's arms. 1,000 gods!
They did it when they couldn't in the group stages. Navi managed to take at least a map against Team Heretics. This is a full best of 5, so anything can happen. And, well, a lot happened to the Vanguard lineup on a Team Heretics here. Lemon, what went wrong?
I mean, you saw Heretics protect the Gambit, so you know Beetle's Rogue is going to be on the menu, and Navi didn't want to consider banning it because I think they had a strong game plan going forward. They felt they could have countered Beetle just off of their strat choices alone. The Luna and the White Fox were just so unforgivable, and it's not that Beetle played badly, but he had to play more measured and more safe. And if Rogue can't really grab anyone and maybe steal their abilities, you're not getting the full value out of the Rogue, and Beetle was still fantastic, but it gave so many opportunities for Navi to punish him or to punish Enzo, but to use cooldowns to bail Beetle out. So big fan of what the backlines are doing for both teams.
Doing it all that they can for their squads. It feels like a lot of these matches are being determined by like how enabled the front line is as well, which has been really interesting. I like to see, trust me on the Captain America there specifically, but looking at Yggdrasil Path, we saw this map come out yesterday actually, when it was Team Heretics versus Shikigami, went the distance, and 4-3 victory for Heretics on that one. But I still worry for this team leg day, having to go against a Terra that has been unleashed the way that he was, not going down once, having the Elsa, the best in slot duelist that he can play. I mean, what can't he do?
Well, I don't think there are many things that Terra can't do, actually. Like, Terra is pretty omnipotent when it comes to the duelist, but I would love to see Team Heretics here maybe make a pivot over to a duelist setup. Like we saw Naga play a very mean Phoenix here yesterday and allow for Tanuki to really lean into these swings like the Daredevil and the Wolverine, because I think that one of the tactics that Navi is still using that they stole from their VP series is, hey, we just decimate their Vanguards, and after that it's kind of easy. And you know who else does percentage damage apart from Wolverine? That's Elsa. So if you give Terra the Elsa and he gets time to build up those stacks of Hunter's Instinct, he's just constantly pumping out this damage into unshielded Vanguards who just have to eat it.
Yeah, I also think that the picks and bans when Heretics played Yggdrasil really factored into their win. The fact that they had Mantis, Loki, and Groot open, that's such a strong team up. And I mean, it's hard to take down kind of all of those resources. And then you have Naga on his best hero because the other team decided to target Naga's Adam. So when you have more of a wealth of a hero pool, there's more to think about of like, what do you not want to play against? Oh, the Adam Karmic Revival, but now you leave Loki open, and then you got more problems from there on out. So we'll see what Heretics can get away with in this big ban.
Yeah, that is the tough thing to think about. Like, do they prioritize the Loki ban? There was mainly, Invisible Woman bans prioritized instead, and we saw Beetle do so good on that group, but teams don't like to ban Groot specifically, but everything else that enables him. So a couple different options that they can go for here. This will be the first time that Navi, at least during the preseason, have played on stream Yggdrasil Path. Maybe done it in scrims a couple of times here and there, but this one's also been played for such a long time in the past. Team Heretics looking to try and turn things around and tie up the series on their map pick. They have a 100% win rate here, so we'll see if they can get it done.
All right, NAVI in a commanding position already after having taken domination. The question is here for Team Heretics, Lemon. Are we going to see a change in tack in that first ban? Are they willing to allow the Gambit into the hands of Crook, which was very well played yesterday, in order to make sure that Terra doesn't have access to the Elsa, the Thanos tier duelist?
Yeah, there's so many plans up the Heretic sleeve, and I don't think losing map 1 was part of that equation. So, hey, Heretics chose this map for a reason, although you don't know what Navi's gonna run. We don't know how much they've scrimmed it. It may mean that there's not as many plans up Navi's sleeve because Heretics have just been the team to get in Navi's head. The one to make them stress, frustrated, panic swap to anything and everything. But right now it feels like Navi are in full control and they seem much more intentional and decisive with what they want to do.
All right, one-sided Vampool likely on the table here. Navi sure to protect the Elsa for Terra, I imagine. And that means that Team Heretics' Vanguards are going to be having a bad time.
There is... I mean, the attack from Heretics on Yggdrasil's path capped at 2 minutes and 43, which is like legendary levels of time. And despite going into extra innings, that time bank, that kind of momentum that Heretics had is what ultimately ended up winning them the map against Shikigami and to stabilize them in that series. But I mean, Navi are a whole different beast, and you have one-sided Elsa at least on Navi's side. So let's see how they can do with that.
The Team Heretics want to go down the Gambit Loki route this time. They had the option last time around. They decided to go for the Mantis. And obviously, with Naga and Oasis both thinking of themselves as the best Mantis in the best two Mantises in the world or in the region, they all want to try and go for it. But Navi's Protect here is going to be very telling. It is going to be... Well, they are hesitating. Do you want to go over to the Loki, knowing that if they do protect the Mantis, it is going to be a Loki ban from Navi, most likely, as they don't want to run the risk of going up against that double Raging Royal Flush.
I like that Protect on Rajaro's Deadpool. I mean, he's got to be like #1 in the stats, and just is kind of that tertiary duelist, if honestly, sometimes even #1 in damage, is the Protect on the Mantis that he denied the Groot team up.
They deny the Groot team up, but the Loki's going to be around. I don't... But then again, like, Team Heretics are a fast team. They like to run around, and Loki doesn't do great with all that running around. He's very much a setup hero who likes to have his doppelgangers in the right place and then play within their LOS. But with Oasis being such a good Loki player, like, maybe the utility is too much to ignore, as Team Heretics will be able to easily support a double duelist composition here with the healing of a Loki and a Gambit.
And it's Navi on defense first, and this whole first point is about momentum generation. And that first corner, yes, may be defender-sided, but as soon as you lose your grip on that, it is hard to scatter and find really a stable place for the defense to resurge in. Because as soon as you go back into those back doors of the first point, very minimal chances of you to retake unless you have a strange portal, and that'll be on the menu for someone to swap to if needed. But Navi also have Jerky rolling out on the Wolverine, and you don't have the Phoenix team up, but you could be just having a stronger neutral win condition by kidnapping people on the side of Heretics.
Yep, I like the look towards the Wolverine here. Like, this is double percentile damage from the Elsa and the Wolverine. So here, like, for Enzo and Beetle, when you're going up against this kind of duelist comp, your goal is to live and you duelist stiff them. Like, it's all down to Naga and Tanuki being able to find early picks.
And not to get walled off by Trust Me, because as soon as Jerky claims someone, or as soon as he does, then Trust Me throws up a wall, and even just denying resources for a second with the Gru wall, depending on which one you use. But wait a minute, Heretics are getting active.
Okay, Tanuki's already in. Is going to be kidnapped temporarily by Jerky, and Terra just utilizing the high ground, managed to get that Monster Piercer onto Beetle. Tanuki's still close here, as Terra is having a slight platforming issue, but it's okay. Have us lots of boys race.
Crook is just Beetle's op today and doesn't even want to mess with the rogue. It's just you can't even get close because Crook hit a nasty freeze and Beetle evaporated in the air. So now you're going to try to close the gap even faster with a Venom.
Oh, Tanuki's just taking so much damage there. Where were they? Where was the healing? Evidently, everyone was focused elsewhere. There must have been some skirmishing going on the high ground. And Oasis is going to be forced to disengage here. Navi are holding strong.
Yeah, Naga on the Star-Lord. I mean, you could just play the ignore, but whoa, who's back there? Beetle's just hanging out observer mode over there, but these broom walls are lasting a long time. You have Strangling Prison, and you got picks. You don't need to do anything.
Oh, this is just such a bit... This is kind of a tilted engage here from Team Heretics. They're kind of making these unassisted engages, allowing Navi to have consistent, like, 2 or 3 versus 1s on these off angles.
You have half your time bank gone if you're Heretics and you're facing Apex Predator, Strangling Prison, Eternal Bond. Like, it's going to be a good initiative from Heretics off the Raging Royal Flush, but Navi could also create an obstacle course with Groot, so this is going to be quite the exchange. Let's see when Heretics want to pull that out.
Okay, Jerky noted thus far already. The Raging Royal Flush comes on in, and guess who takes to the sky to try and shut this one down? Oh no! The Lebronzo can't connect! Fate is nice when it comes to the maneuvers and manages to get just a little hair's breadth away from that Meteor, which wasn't held long enough to have a charge to take out Fate just off of splash damage.
That was a cheap fight too, only strangling Prison and Eternal Bond, and you still have the Apex Alpha Predator from Terra, which as soon as Navi disengage, you're gonna have a nice long lane. I don't expect it at this corner unless Heretics stack up, and you just can't pressure this high ground that Terra is sitting on. There are so many neutral fight picks from Navi that end the fight before it even starts. Oh no.
Oh, the off-angle Glatrox could be real. Enzo full marking the engagement here by already bringing out the charged Greatsword. That's a big investment during the poke phase. And here comes the second Raging Royal Flush. This one's going to come from Oasis. Got to look out towards the back, though. The Glatrox surely is going to be dropped here from Terra, but level 1 Crook's going to answer the violence immediately with the Fate of Both Worlds. They attempt to try and grab some players' souls here and make them look at the pretty lady instead of a backline. A nice grab onto Oasis, and Naga's fallen down too. Terra gets the timing that was needed, and Tanuki's nowhere to be seen, evaporated under the Monster Piercer and the Reign of Terror.
Terra is a monster, and Heretics had such a good psionic seduction. They were preventing Navi from escaping, and Terra knew that was his moment to shine and swings the fight back in Navi's favor. Another strangling Prison, a Wolf ult that could just end the backline if Jerky feels like it, and Tanuki feels he has to match it, and Heretics, they're going for it all, or they're going to be full held, and that's just going to be a killer.
Last stand, ready to go. Here comes the Meteor M once again, but can Fate dodge? It seems like the positioning thus far is good. Terra's just sitting in an Eternal Bond in the backline. Unlimited healing, ready to try and take out the Gambit, managing to slip the net off the back of the Bayou Bash. Tanuki manages to isolate one as well. That's the one Crook taken down, but now it's Jerky's turn. And have they got too much off the back of this one? It seems that Alex is down. It's the emergency healing coming through from Oasis on the other side, but Jeffros, it really isn't that much. Tanuki grabs in multiple players, burning through them now. There has been a burnt passive from a Wolverine, but guess what? Navi are already willing to come back with the portal from level 1 Crook.
Okay, you're gonna try and section off this fight with the portal. No, it's just gonna be a front-to-back approach from Navi. And Terra will be close to the Apex Predator. That's what they needed to build towards. So it's just going to be a survive and sustain angle from Navi. They also have to keep watch on the cart.
Terra on the off angle, trust me, returning on the thing. Similar thoughts from both of Vanguards to try and deal with these Wolverines. They need to stay on the car, but level 1 Crook is just doing so much damage. So many of the strategists have already fallen. Only Oasis is going to remain. Yes, it's a good dodge here from Tanuki to try and avoid the incoming Glatrox, but none of Heretics are on the point, and they have been absolutely embarrassed by Navi.
Wow, it feels like the Heretics backline got Thanos snapped. Every time you look back and you think they have a footing in the fight, Navi are behind them, whether it's with an Apex Predator, Rajaro, like ruining everything back there. And Heretics, that was the most stable part about this team, is how Naga and friends, especially Alex, can dictate fights around the Raging Royal Flush, and Alex is cowering in the closet, just like shaking because you're getting dove on by a Wolverine or whatever else that Navi have. So, I mean, Heretics, I did not expect a full hold at this point. Like, when you have Royal Flushes, 2 of them even, and that still wasn't enough?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not vibing with the Magneto pick here. I think that Enzo just didn't have much forward momentum to make it past the cart when faced with the danger of both being walled off by Trust Me with no mobility to get out of it, and Jerky's potential approach on the Wolverine. I would have loved to have seen Enzo maybe pick up the Venom instead of Beetle so they could continue to get that rogue team up from the Gambit, which is hyper valuable for these brawls. But Team Heretics, though, they just were eternally losing initiative. Like, surely you can't allow Terra to keep having the Elsa. Like, it just makes it so difficult to win any kind of duelist battle.
And just the fact that the Elsa sat on this platform on the high ground unpunished. It is very hard to do so because she'll just dash away. And now you'll hope that Tanuki can do his best Elsa impression. Beetle's just going to be haymakering around the corner, just trying to be that stable anchor as Navi can just build up towards these ultimates. And despite Beetle being so sturdy, he will get run over by the Apex Predator regardless. So Navi, they're trying to get Jerky in position to harass the high ground. It's working.
Wrapping around using the ice arts. Na'Vi have claimed a lot of space for Team Heretics had trouble with, but now they have to deal with a charged great sword of Enzo. It's a lot of poke to try and deal with. Rajo manages to make it out though, and that's a huge kidnap onto a Magneto. Just about manages to make it into regeneration domain, and then the extrication will come courtesy of the Adam Warlock. All that shared out damage though might be too much for the team to deal with. The vulnerability from a cloak and dagger proves to be a brutal factor in the midst of this fight. Tanuki noted amongst the masses. Level 1 Kroger's once again found the opening in the chaos, reads the tea leaves and finds the key. Team Heretics are going to desperately portal back, but I think this one's already cooked, Lemon.
Yeah, Enzo is waiting for everyone to respawn, but it has to be here and now, and here they come. They can at least get the Royal Flush. This is winnable for Heretics, but Navi are strangling them.
Going directly into the Yance as well, so we don't have any movement ability to try and work with. Finally, there's going to be a breakout. Oh, that's going to be a big usage of the clobbering time from Beetle. Multiple stuns, but guess who's there ready to go? You're going down the lane, boys! Terra sends out the Glatrox, and, well, Na'Vi, they are looking even stronger than yesterday.
That one-sided Elsa is a problem, and just how I'm looking at the amount of deaths that Terra had on this one, but if it's not him, it's Rajaro jumping into this backline, one of the best van pools that we have in EMEA. And I think Heretics kind of have the same thing happen when they faced Shikigami. They kept letting Leolis and Shikigami get the Elsa, and that's a big reason why Shikigami took a lot of maps from Heretics. Heretics were trying to dismantle everything that supports the Elsa, but Terra really doesn't need anybody else than himself. 8 final blows stood on the platform. Namely, there were so many neutral fight picks from Jerky or Terra, and trust me, as soon as Heretics step up, he would wall them off at the perfect moments, making Enzo punished every single time on the Magneto. And I know the Magneto was like hit or miss, but that's like the only thing that you can self-peel when you get walled off from your team. But that was a tough showing from Heretics.
And Na'Vi, they aren't going for like a classic ban protect phase here arrival, and they see the Gambit. Like usually when the Gambit gets protected, a team has to scramble to ban the Loki, ban the Rogue, ban the Star-Lord as well, but Na'Vi seem unconcerned with that. They're more focused in on getting this Vanguard Deadpool to be uneven, because Rajaro dropping 10 final hits, 11k damage, is absolutely pounding when it comes to those Dual Desert Eagles, just able to poke at any range and help out any engagements. If Terra gets someone low, Rajaro can be there with the finish. Maybe we need to see Team Heretics put a bit more emphasis here on getting rid of not only the Elsa, but also maybe an early ban on that Vanguard Deadpool as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Terra, it's now 2 maps in a row that he has not died. And will the Kings of Navi be slain? It's match point in their favor. Heretics, what else you got? We'll find out after this.
Watch out, they're headed our way! Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
hunt is on. 1,000 gods!
Welcome back, everyone. Well, this is an opposite day in comparison to what we saw in the group stages between these two teams. It was a 2-0 sweep one direction. Now it's on the way to a 3-0 sweep in the favor of Navi here. And Jen, like, what would you say is the biggest difference that we've seen out of Navi in this playoffs in comparison?
It's just like kind of what Tara said in his interview yesterday. They like fixed all of their issues and they are confident more than ever. And that's really what they needed. I think a lot of trust in each other and having a solid game plan and just to ban out things that are kind of niche, like the Groot from Heretics, knowing that they chose this map probably to play around Beetle's Groot or something like that. He's played a lot of the Groot in playoffs. That was really interesting. But Tara just can't be like, we'll keep saying it, like the Elsa just can't exist. And Heretics stray away from banning the Elsa, just like I said against Shikigami, which that series went to game 5 for a reason.
Ooh, Heart of Heaven, though, for the map choice that we have here leg day. I mean, we've seen middling results from a lot of teams. Heretics, they haven't necessarily chosen this. They played on it 3 times, won twice, lost once as well. But on the other side of things, Heart of Heaven, actually, no, they haven't even, neither of these teams have played this. I was thinking of Hell's Heaven, excuse me.
Yeah.
With this being a relative unknown to both these rosters leg day, it feels like teams are just kind of trying to pull out maps that they don't have footage against them, so nobody can be as studied in these matchups.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a reset, trying to avoid like a sneaky group ban when maybe that was like the centerpiece of your strategy for Team Heretics. I'm not entirely sure. One thing that is known, though, is that Terra is still good at Elsa. So given that we're 2-0 down,
Do we ban the Elsa? I think so.
maybe we take the risk. Maybe we do a little bit of Elsa banning, you know? Like, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I'm not the coach, I'm not the expert, but like, I've got a very small data set which appears to be trending a certain way.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really harsh here if they don't ban the Elsa they're throwing, but I also respect that that level 1 Crook is an absolute beast on the Gambit, and I wouldn't want to face any of those guys in a dark alley. But for Heretics to be an 0-2 spot, this is uncharacteristic.
Do we see the Elsa ban? That is the question that's #1 on everyone's mind so far, but the Gambit play was essential from level 1 Crook to help take down the World Championship team yesterday. We'll have to find out if Navi can sweep the competition and earn themselves a spot in the grand finals, or if Heretics are one way onto the train for a reverse sweep.
The troubles are over for Navi. What was once troubled waters now seem to be smooth seas. The troubles have been worked out. All of the kinks have been ironed out of the armor, and Navi are looking like an impenetrable beast. As once again, I see the Gambit banned from Team Heretic. So you'll never guess what Terra's going to get to play on Heart of Heaven.
Well, yeah, that's a tough one. Also, we heard from the EMEA teams that they don't scrim each other. So you're kind of having to go off the rumblings of what's happening in scrims from others. So it's like you don't know what to expect, but it still feels like Navi had a better read on the Heretics game plan for Yggdrasil, as Terra is on Elsa again. So Heretics will continue to play off the win condition of their Gambit. We'll see if Beetle will be allowed to play the Rogue, but so far Navi have just not touched banning the Rogue.
And it's going to be a one-sided Vanpool again, perhaps? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Navi have been doing so much poking off the back of the Elsa and the Vanpool. And, well, I don't want to be a doomer. I would love to see a banger of a series here, but Team Heretics don't appear to really be adjusting much in terms of their draft. It's going to have to be adjustments in-game to their fight plans if they want to get one over on Navi here on Heart of Heaven.
And Heart of Heaven, we've not seen this before. This is the Heretics camp choosing this, and they're attacking first. They're also choosing to attack first. I think this is a pretty defender-sided first point to cap. I mean, it's such a long stretch, so this is where these ranged duelists really have to stand up. So I'm looking at Tanuki's Phoenix, which is going to be on the menu, and he's been trying to go toe-to-toe, but the Unsung Inferno doesn't have the same level of spice as an Apex Predator from Terra, and Terra will literally flank you with the ultimate and dash out like he was never there. So it's pretty nutty what Navi got away with on Yggdrasil's path.
Might be a bit of a pivot here. Perhaps they'll try and go for a more up-close and personal duel with the Elsa with a damage-boosted Star-Lord, which is not an unwinnable duel, but it's not necessarily easy. Na'Vi are going to be defending first, so we can expect that it's going to be something on the lines of triple strategies. Level 1 Crook certainly has had a sordid love affair with the Elsa recently. Like, Fate also played it yesterday as well, getting some beautiful freezes on Eyes of Agamotto. It feels like whatever's been happening in Na'Vi's scrims, they have been discovering the value of Lunar Snow once again.
And I think just Heretics have to rediscover Dive. I know they've just been the team that can play anything, and I've had a good brawl, have had decent dives, but I think if you could have a really confident Venom just jump on Terra, even just distract him a little, but it's such a risk, right, with the health percentage damage that you need to pop the Venom extra health very early, so it's a very punishable state for Venom to be in, which no Venom now for Heretics. They're actually portaling to see if they can catch Na'Vi off guard, and they're watching for it.
It's a bit of a fake right here, though. I wonder where Enzo's opening this portal to begin. Oh, Beetle's right next to him. Maybe they're just going to try and gun down the Ultron, but it looks like Jerky's already made it out of the range of the portal. Quick map flip here from Na'Vi should get them out of the range of Beetle's aggressions. Is there a turret on the other side right now? Trust me, of course, on the airborne Angela and catching up to Tanuki in quite the speed. However, trade that for Terra. That's an equal trade there for Team Heretics. They're likely going to be happy with, but that's an absolute skewering that now has been sent over onto the Doctor Strange, having the Cloak of Levitation away as fast as possible, and Beetle's moving over now onto level 1 Crook. This demands the peel, and here it comes in the form of both the Deadpool and the White Fox, who could just keep the Venom in a box over here.
Yeah, I said Heretics discovering the dive, but they're discovering the power of Navi's backlight as well. You still have the freezes from Crook that were pivotal on Krakoa, and of course the charms from Fate, the same sort of backline they've run before that Heretics are, well, discovering the hard way, but also the power of the Angela here on Trust Me to kind of deny Heretics from pressuring the high ground too much. It could also push you into a fight you are not ready for, and Angela is such a survivable Vanguard if you don't have the counters to it. Needing CC, needing Naga to be the one to deter Trust Me, who's really not going to full commit to this unless he's really sure, as Heretics just want Navi to get off this high ground, and it's taken them forever to deny that.
Well, at least Enzo can basically perma-contest it, utilizing the incredible leaps of the Hulk. But for now, Na'Vi, they feel happy to stick on this one. Alex going to be falling low, trying to do a little bit of self-healing here, and the peel is going to be good, courtesy of the symbolic shenanigans as well. Enzo taken down to puny banner form, and punyness won't last long against Terror, and his full charges of Hunter's Instinct following over after Tanuki. The Monster Piercer does its job. Rajaro, once again, is contributing to so many of these frags. He's just everywhere. This guy's omnipotent.
Yeah, chasing down Navi is so difficult, and then Tanuki goes down when you had the Raging Royal Flush, so Tanuki's gonna give up a lot of Volt Charge to go to the Phoenix. They had the Raging Galactic Legend and they swapped off of it. This is a big risk when you barely have 90 seconds if you're Team Heretics. You need something to follow through and finish off these limbs that Beetle and Enzo are trying to serve you up with.
Palms are sweaty. We'll have to see if they've slicked the entrance here for Na'Vi. Rolling in, the first engagement's going to be forcing out the fate of both worlds on the other side. Tanuki already skewered away. He's going to need a little bit of healing, as there is a pair of ultimates from both Fate and level 1 Crook sustaining Na'Vi. That's a lot that's now missing. Team Heretics going to have their opening off the back of it. It's Jeff in particular. Out comes the Glatrox. Has Terra got anyone off the back of it, though? A quick popping of a Simba. Oh, Terra overextended to try and find that one. It must have been easily dodged away from. Na'Vi rebuff it fairly well, as they do try to hold all of this space, but Team Heretics, now they're in danger at the hands of Enzo. Tanuki and Alex taken down on the other side. I don't know where the Worldbreaker Hulk is. It seems to be smashing someone in the back. I imagine maybe that one was Jerky, but Trust Me just keeps finding these angles. Na'Vi are just ephemeral. You can't find them no matter where you look. Naga's going to be the next to fall. 30 seconds remain.
Just Heretics cannot get control of this top temple, and if Na'Vi stays there, they have full access to Team Heretics' backline, and that's how they took down Tanuki. Emergency Angela, a portal towards the objective from Navi's side to get their strats back in. 17 seconds now for Heretics, or they're going to be full hell.
Enzo back into Hulk form. Oasis still has the Jeff to try and play with. Could leave a healing pool on the point if it's going to be necessary. But Na'Vi smell the end of this series in their sights. Still nothing gained here by Team Heretics. Galactic Legend takes to the sky. There's no strategist ultimate to try and deal with it. So level 1 Crook's going to be the first to fall. Jerky erects the shield in front of him, but trust me, it just dodges aside and is unable to find the end of it. Beetle's frenzied arrival certainly brings a frenzy to the heart of Jerky, and it will take so long to respawn here due to the overtime. But Team Heretics can lightly get the cap and a second lease on life.
At least you have a win condition to play around. I did not think you're calling 911 and Tanuki's Angela was going to be the one to answer, but was able to have the speed to follow through with Beetle and Enzo. You can't underestimate the ability of Angela to isolate and also get the executions. A considerable amount of damage when you have the charged spear, along with being able to interrupt any escape utility that Navi had. Finally accessing people like Crook was a huge boon for Heretics, but now it's momentum that they need to maintain, and you have the Raging Royal Flush to do just that. Navi are watching from above, though, so as soon as they drop, Heretics will be ready to pounce.
Yeah, not giving up any free ultra charge here. Nice cleanse onto the Glartrox, taking people out of the clutches of the Apex Predator. But it does mean that a majority of the Team Heretics not in a great position to try and follow up on the utility of the ultimate. And they're unwilling to really move after Fate, who's now entered the Kumiho Unleashed form, is trapping in a couple of these divers, stomping, having a parade, the maddest little Kumiho there ever was, letting their displeasure be known. Terra's going to be yelling in the voice comms, though, as Tanuki takes them down with no support in the neutral. And out comes the return. It has to be the fate of both worlds, with Crook dragging them all forward. Jerky, Rajara, and Fate all managed to contribute to the frag feed as Beetle's disengage is going to be into the jaws of Na'Vi.
Can't believe it. I was worried about Navi contesting this bottom cave because then Heretics had the high ground, could jump behind them, and they had a nice angle on it. But Navi, the Kumiho form, and then the fate of both worlds was enough brawling power to out-sustain Heretics. Now Enzo's on the group. That's usually Beetle's thing, and there's been a lot of adaptations between Tanuki and Naga even trading who's going to be on Star-Lord duty. Beetle's been frozen, and he still lives.
Okay, surprise group managed to catch level 1 Crook. By surprise this time around, Tanuki sends in... Oh, no, Naga got caught in the smoke demon there. And it's easy follow-ups for Terra, who simply dashes away, is going to continually be followed by this Venom. But the pocket coming through from Fate is really strong right now. The healing's exactly where it needs to be. And even Jerky's contributing a little bit of stall on the cart right now. Everyone on Na'Vi is lights out.
This Trust Me cap is going to have a lot of stall potential for Navi's side of things. The triple strap, Rajaro, also a fantastic anchor of Trust Me needs to go on adventures, and Naga's trying to find an adventure through this bright window, and it opens things up for Tanuki.
Oh, Fate being taken down is perfect. Now Tanuki's got the off angle and moving over onto Crook. The sparks are up. The freeze is good, though. Has to dodge away. Oh, that was a risky one. Is going to need a touch of pocketing as Trust Me's taken down by Oasis. Team Heretics, when the overtime starts, they turn on.
Tanuki is clutch to survive that. No one can live to tell the tale when you get frozen by the Crook. Now you're going towards the cap here if you're Heretics, and Raging Royal Flush is what's on the menu. Navi need a solid Apex Predator.
It won't be used to cleanse the Apex Predator. It's already come out here from Alex, ready to use the Jeff for that healing pool as well. Trust me, doing their best just keep this one contested, but the stream of Jeff is too much to try and bear. Everyone else is kept at arm's length via the usage. They might try and eat players out of the Predator at the back, but Oasis is back for more healing.
Navi just can't sustain. I respect the guts for Navi to start pulling out ults to see if they can match band for band, but Heretics have really entered that flow state to go for the early Raging Royal Flush, to have Navi scatter on both sides of the lane, made it so Navi couldn't get a solid regroup, and Terra goes for the Hail Mary, and I think Heretics got their prayers answered when they survived a Terra Apex Predator. They didn't get to say that a lot this series, but Beetle's been frozen. He'll have Feast of the Abyss.
Frozen on the disengage. Has to use for Feast of the Abyss just to turn around and run away. Going after level 1 Crook. Might be trying to force something out here, but it's just going to be a quick brawl between the Luna and the Deadly Protector. But he's already some help though. Where are the rest of the team, man? Well, Team Heretics are just watching from afar. Like, oh, he'll be fine. He'll be aight.
And Alex hit such a sick anti-heal, and despite the panic from Heretics, they made the most out of that. Navi have respawn advantage. Heretics still need to maximize push. There's 30 seconds left.
Oh, forcing with disengage here from the Gambit. Tanuki taken down by the rapid fire of Rajaro. These dual Desert Eagles are such a pain to deal with, and a re-engage here is not going to be easy with 19 seconds.
And a Gru can be so abused by Poke, and Enzo has to really weigh whether he wants to build towards a Strangling Prison or go to something that can enable Beetle, and he stays for now as Heretics will be feasted upon by Terra.
Galatros gathers nothing, and now Alex doesn't have to worry about the cleanse. Level 1 Crook has to answer the incoming Raging Royal Flush using the Fate of Both Worlds, but now it's Naga up above with the Galactic Legend. Not quite the Galactic Flush this time, as already the team up has expired, but look at this, the triple stomps from Fate, the actual value from the White Fox ult. You thought it was a myth, but Fate is simply a legend made flesh, as Navi holds on third, and the Heart of Heaven finds itself under cardiac arrest.
At least the hearts of Heretics could possibly still beat on in this series, especially when they almost got full health on the point, and that could have just been the nail in the coffin. But Heretics, they're known to swap just on the fly, to be able to trade roles from, I mean, we talked about Naga and Tanuki on the Star-Lord, Naga and Oasis on the Atom in previous series, Enzo picking up the Groot. Like, Heretics are so smart and so good at adapting. And they've just never been in a position where they've had to be the ones to bounce to different comps. They're the ones who swept Navi last time, but man, have Navi done their homework. But this is also a different Terra. Heretics have found their way to just positionally get away from the Apex Predator or cleanse through it using Alex. And also just being able to take a fight before Navi think too hard. That's been a huge thing for Heretics, to fight fast.
I got Vaudible's analysis fairy on my shoulder talking about how Team Heretics are focusing Terra quite a bit in this matchup as well, which might be the gameplay change-up they've made. And the focus on Terra does mean they're having a much easier time avoiding those Glatroxes, because Terra's not really being able to, you know, take these off angles in fights where they aren't noticed and get those surprise ultimates into the backline of Heretics.
And Enzo's on the Angela again, and this is a strong point for her. You can stay really hidden at different parts and force people forward. So Navi, though, they need to scout for this. They need to know what's ahead before they go through these arches. Heretics are going to be at the top of the temple. Tanuki, this is going to be the best angle for him. But, you know, Groot's not the best thing to support that, and Enzo's going to be in and out of the fight. So you don't have really a stable Vanguard for a high ground. Yeah, Beetle's just going to be kind of a nuisance through the lane. Navi can't really oh, they do easily get up there.
Yeah, oh, Naga and Oasis are already down. Oh, boy. I think that maybe Enzo was waiting to try and get the backstab onto Terra when they used all of their ability to get up to high ground, but that was an El Clasico there. Navi might have it turned around on them, though. Alex is still up and fighting level 1 Crook on the off angle. It's been a weird map flip here from the side of Team Heretics. Alex is falling low. Jerky desperately wants to try and find it. There's a good amount of self-healing that's going through, but finally Jerky will get their man. Opened up is the portal, this time from Tanuki. He's played all manner of heroes over the course of this one, but while Terra is still alive, all the Vanguards need fear. Tanuki debarks directly into the path of a monster hunter, and well, she's gonna get paid today.
The way you're selfieing while you see Trust Me body block the portal is quite hilarious. I love Deadpool. But didn't love how Heretics approached that defense. Again, you don't have a solid Vanguard to be up there, and if you don't have someone to protect your Phoenix, everyone should be dipping instantly as soon as you see an Elsa jump up there. So Navi had the jump, knew what they needed to do, and made sure that Heretics didn't have time to get their win condition. The Angela's set up online, which does take time and an opportunity. Speaking of opportunities,
Trust Me drags on forward. That's going to be the Freedom Charge used, and Navi are going to have so much survivability if they try and stick with Trust Me for now. Still, the car is going to be moving on forward. Oasis wants to take the duel with Terra. It's Brave instead. Pivots over onto Jerky. The Living Bullet is just too much to try and bear, as for now, Terra's just playing Payload Princess, just pushing this one along. Naga temporarily blocked out for by Tanuki. Some great body blocking coming in. But look at this. We've actually seen some innovation from Fate when it comes to the use of a White Fox ultimate. You're not using it as a defensive utility, but for melee supremacy.
Naga gets frozen by Crook and still wins the 1v1. Or must have been a soul bond or some kind of help, because I can't believe Naga was able to live, and you're going to need him more than ever for a Karmic Revival for this next fight. And keep an eye on when that's going to be. Wait, dinner time already?
Well, I don't know if they're going to be eating good off the back of that one. Terra unable to grab too much, so Na'Vi only have to... Oh, they're going to use the Rage Rock. They're just trying to keep Team Heretics in spawn, and they have to roll out now using the Soul Resurgence. Jerky could be out a little bit further than they wanted, though. All of that focused fire towards the back, and that's going to be a Strangling Prison, grabbing both the Vanguards as well. Team Heretics, off the back of 2 ultimates to break out of there, they get stability.
You can't corner a dog and expect them not to bite back. Wow, the resilience of Heretics to survive the wave of the ultimates, even the Apex Predator, which this has just gotten such a minimal value for Na'Vi in this map. Heretics knew what they had to do to stop Na'Vi, and they hope to complete the reverse sweep, and Tanuki, it's the aim trainer out here for this guy.
Yeah, Terra was a little bit unsupportive there on the push-up alone. At least that means the rest of Na'Vi could not fight this if they won. But Raja is still going to be giving away a little bit of ult charge. Given that Tanuki's already got his, it's not that important.
All right, Crook is going to try to help boost them up. And when is that going to be pulled? Enzo's been frozen, and he lives.
Oh,
No
straight
piece of the
down
abyss.
upon them here with the Ensong Inferno, waiting to try and force out the Lunar Ultimate, and there is going to be Raja now turns around. There's no escape for Tanuki. A healing wall is brought up by Beetle, and that's going to be a quick resurrection here from Naga, looking over towards the second part of a fight. Do you have the wherewithal to make this one work? Terra's going to try and tear through them. Beetle's already gone down, should be returned in quick succession, and the same here for Enzo. But as the Helix stacks are building on up, Terra's going to get Monster Piercer shot after Monster Piercer shot, and here comes the counter attack from Heretics. Around the back, the Feast of the Abyss doesn't get anything from Trust Me. The healing's still going to be there from Fate, whose symbiotic shenanigans are able to grab a bunch of tendrils onto their fellow players. Enzo towards the back. If they can get Crook, it would be massive. Gets hit with the Feast of the Abyss. The Fist of the Abyss off the melee as well. And now Oasis just says it's time to go. The speed boost is there, and so too is the aim.
A little bit off kilter for Heretics, not combining the Piece of the Abyss with the Ensong Inferno. They were just kind of trying to weigh when that level 1 Crook Fate of both worlds was going to come out, but that res from Naga is what stabilized everything. 3 picks from Na'Vi, all brought back from the strategist of Heretics. They survive, but do they thrive? Still 2 minutes for Na'Vi to cap.
All right, opening up now with the Rage of Ultron. Beetle's going to be taking a lot of that damage. You can see Oasis is currently going to be catching some of it as well. Tanuki grabs in multiple players, and the counterplay off the back of this Strangling Prison. It seems like Beetle didn't really achieve anything off the back of that one. Fate just leaves a pool of healing to make sure those Vanguards are well sustained, and this is going to have to be an absolute Helm's Deep-esque hold for Team Heretics.
Yeah, that finish line is around this corner. This could be a really defendable spot for Heretics, but Na'Vi, their aggression has been punished before, but if they can just find a good balance, if they can get that first pick off of Terra, that would be big. But really, Heretics have had Tanuki make all of that magic happen, and he needs to pull a rabbit out of his hat. Enzo's been spotted. Got to be careful of those freezes from Crook. Enzo has the extra health, and you need him for the Feast of the Abyss, but that extra health's already been popped.
Damage boost given over onto Terra to try and rebuff that first attack, and you can see the Soul Bond's been used as well. A major utility out of Naga, and now Trust Me knows that this backline is wide open. Nice cleanse coming through from Alex. The timing is perfect, and Terra doesn't know what hit him. A counter punch, a 1-2 into uppercut. The remainder of Na'Vi are scattered to the 4 wins, but there's still 2 minutes to defend.
And Navi's ticket to the grand final sits on the other side of this fight if they can pull it off. And they're banking every tool in the shed and hoping it's as sharp as ever to pierce through the Heretics, their rival from their group. And Naga has to be careful for the Karmic Revival, but Oasis is down!
Oasis already down, and now the pressure's going to be on Naga. Do they have their own revival is the question. I think they've got the Cocoon Revival. Could use it in the air to bring everybody back. It might well be necessary. Oh, they're he had no cover from the main duelist. Oh, there's nothing off the back of Beetle's ultimate as well. He's thrown it into Narnia. Mr. Tumnus is going to be looking for that one. Na'Vi just chased down the remainder. Team Heretics have fallen apart. They've been disintegrated to ashes, reduced to their constituent atoms. Only molecules of hope remain where once a proud team stood. Na'Vi have struck back for their 2-0 embarrassment as Alex has recontested off the back of a portal inside of a Fate of Both Worlds. So there's nothing that Team Heretics can do to try and take down Na'Vi. Even for Trust Me, he's still chomping on through, but it's just a naughty nibble for the Venom. The Dangerous Protector has said, I am the danger. And Na'Vi, 3 over series.
Revenge is sweet. It's when it matters, and it's in playoffs. Navi to the grand final. Heretics down to face the winner of Rad and Shikigami. And Heretics, I mean, the script has been flipped on them. They had such a good push, but Oasis getting jumped. Naga being denied on the Karmic Revival. Navi are steps ahead, and Heretics have been silenced.
Playing for the vibes, and my vibes are rancid right now. Let's get a lowdown on that one from our boy Vodable, seeing what he thinks of this series. A quick one, Vod.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they managed to target Terra. That was the issue that they had in the first 2 maps, and were eventually able to create some momentum off of that. The problem is that everyone else on Team Navi is really good, especially Rajaro, with the flanks that they had and the Deadpool in your area at the perfect time, just for the extra speed and precision that they could duel out damage, and having the Ultron drone on them as well. I feel like Jerky playing on that when they were able to perform well enough, having the hit scan, targeting Tanuki on the back line whenever they're flanking around. Like, everyone did their role perfectly, targeting the back line when they needed to, using their ultimates towards the end. We saw some questionable decisions from Navi, of course, when they were trying to push for that second capture point, and unfortunately they used both of their ultimates and didn't get anything from it. But hey, you wanted to pressure the issue as much as you could from the gate and see if you could go the distance, not give any time for Heretics to recover. And credit where it is due to Heretics on this last map. They gave it the good old college try, but the problem is, Levin, you talked about this at the start, you're kind of throwing it if you don't ban the Elsa.
Yeah, at least they tried to answer it. I mean, all of Terra's deaths in this series came on this one map. Like, kind of insane. And Heretics, it's just they couldn't stop the tempo. They tried to hold the top temple on Heretics' defense, got immediately wiped from Navi, who just jumped up there, and they're like, cool, your duelists are unprotected by a Vanguard. And Beetle was just kind of a solo Groot on the low ground, so not really loving that game plan. At least just Navi were too quick with how they were punishing these positional choices from Heretics, and then Navi just had a lot of time to work with on their pushes, and a decent resistance from Heretics on point B. I started to have maybe a glimmer of hope there, but yeah, Navi got back on their high horse.
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do here as well, leg day, the swap from the White Fox into the Jeff, the symbiotic shenanigans, just to give them that extra health because they were getting bursted down so much, and Beetle being back on that Groot, having the team up with Oasis, seemed to be just a wall in their faces that they couldn't deal with until the swap happened. And even before that, though, the White Fox play from Fate, top tier. Like, if you want to learn how to play an aggressive White Fox, that seemed to be the textbook definition.
Yeah, like, being able to rebuff so many of those assaults is really important. Like, we saw some great peel for level on Crook as well, because the White Fox works pretty well in tandem with Luna, not only for supplying that team up, but also being able to teleport over to Valuna, who doesn't have great disengage options if their freeze has already been used. So we saw some great peel from Rajaro in tandem as well. And the symbolic shenanigans are just so strong when you're going up against a team that really wants to get those kind of alpha strikes by building up your bonus health before you engage. I think that Fate also being able to give over additional speed to Rajaro was very effective at making sure that, like, Terra and Rajaro, when they were speeded, it was much harder to track their off angles, and like that all came down to like Rajaro getting that speed and being able to just emerge from a mist on top of Oasis and drop the banhammer on them that the Team Heretics had no idea was coming.
And that happens so many times, especially when you're playing against a Gambit using the banhammer. It makes it so every single card, because they throw out like a handful of them, is going to actually proc the banhammer, doing the extra damage for a miss if you don't hit all of your shots. So it's a tough spot to be in if you are the Gambit, trying to supply as much as you can. I did have to give credit where it's due, though. The Gambit plays that we did see from Team Heretics, the cleanses on the Glartroxes were immaculate towards the end there when they were on the attacking side specifically, and it seemed like they were turning things around, but just Navi are on their A game, and I don't know if I'm crazy saying this, it feels like they're the best in EMEA right now, Lemon.
You have to call them that. They beat VP and they beat Heretics. Like, who's left to contest that? The only way is if Heretics get through the lower bracket.
Well, we have the Luna Snow Extraordinaire with the freezes to stun the world. It's level 1 Crook who is going to be joining us on the interview this time. We heard from you, Crook, way back when at the start of the preseason, and now that you've made it here to the grand finals, how do you and the team feel?
I think we're feeling good. We made a pretty good comeback from what I would say was a big down for us as a team. everyone was doubting us, and now I think we showed that we can be at the top, which is where we are supposed to be at. So yeah, I'm just happy everyone played well. Feeling good right now.
And I bet, and I bet you're feeling good also playing Luna, because it takes a lot of trust to play a strategist in such a kind of relentless meta, and you hit so many critical freezes. Tell me how, like, you and Fate and sometimes Jerky have to communicate and kind of divvy up the resources in these tense moments.
I mean, in the end of the day, it's all about the aim. Luna is a very aim-intensive hero, and that's just something I enjoy playing, so I love the hero very much. And of course, communication-wise, it's just important that everyone stays vocal. If they need help, they need to call for it. If they're focusing someone, they need to call for it, so the team can actually function. But as I said, aim on Luna is super, super important.
Obviously, last time we went up against Team Heretics, it was not in your favor, a 2-0 in the group stage. What do you think has changed for Na'Vi as a team since the group stage to make it so domineering in your favor?
I mean, that was a group stage match. I don't think too much changed. It's just that for a group stage match, you usually don't have the deep kind of preparation that you do for playoffs, where you actually look at the team and what they play. In the group stage, we got caught off. We didn't know what to expect. That's what kind of made the difference for us.
I have kind of two that I want to close on here specifically. First and foremost, we heard from Virtus Pro, and now relatively absent here in the later stages of these playoffs, that this meta specifically is difficult to adapt to. And it feels like, compared to those group stages to now, that you guys have found your rhythm in terms of the ban and protect phase, but also being able to adapt on the fly. What really have you guys been able to focus in on to make sure that you rise above the competition and still can lock in no matter what is thrown your way?
I mean, it's just practice. We're not known to be very good at scrims, but that's because we play like lots of comps, lots of different compositions. So that means when we're actually in the tournament, we're rather flexible compared to some other teams, and I think that's our advantage. So we suffer through the pain, but in the end, we can reap the rewards ourselves.
Okay, I respect it. And then final question here. Now that you're in the grand finals, who do you expect to be that team to join you there?
I have no clue. I'm just looking forward for the grand final, honestly.
That's valid. That's valid. I was hoping we could get some insight, but the predictors out there are in shambles after all the brackets have been broken. Well, thank you, Level 1 Crook, for joining us. Congrats on making it back into the good graces of Marvel Rivals, into the grand finals, and we'll see you there tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.